I'm really excited about this feature that we've added to the system. It's called a buyer assistant, and I think every single retailer out there can benefit from using this module, even if it's for reporting purposes. I can click on the buyer assistant, and the whole point of having this module is to provide you with more data and more business intelligence. And what I mean by business intelligence is information, right? The more information we can provide retailers, the better you can manage your business. And your largest cost is obviously inventory. So in any typical retail hard goods, inventory is your largest cost, and managing your inventory is sometimes the most challenging task that you have. And we're going to keep enhancing this module, and definitely would love to hear some more feedback from you. But what's important when you manage inventory is making sure that you've got the correct inventory, right? Having the right items at the right time, and making sure that you don't have too much inventory, because you don't want your cash tied up in a whole bunch of inventory that's not selling. So of course you can look around your store, you can print some sales reports. This buyer assistant really brings everything together, and it definitely should help you purchase the right items at the right price at the right time. So the module is pretty straightforward as far as how to work it, but there's a few hidden things that you may or may not notice. So first of all, when you click on the buyer assistant, which is right under purchasing, you'll see in the top you can choose a specific supplier, manufacturer, or category. So for example, if today you want to look at your accessories, you can just choose that particular category, and that would show you all accessories, and based on your other criteria, you'll see the next screen will reflect based on what you chose in this screen. So in this case, for the demonstration purposes, I'm just going to keep everything at all. And you'll see that my criteria, I can choose, let me look at items below the reorder level, right? You can set up reorder levels, meaning mins and maxes. We call them reorder and replenishment points. And you can do that in the inventory screen, right? If you look at the item screen, and I'll just take you to it really quick. If you've got multiple locations, you would set it up by location. But if you only have one location, you would just go right to your inventory tab. Oh, it looks like I'm chosen an item that's missing a category, so bear with me here. So I'll just go to inventory, and you'll notice this is my reorder level, my minimum, and my replenishment level, which is essentially my maximum. So what this means is if I put a 5 here and a 10 here, then when this item hits 5 or below as far as quantity on hand, and of course we take into account what's committed, right? Because we want to make sure that if a customer has a special order for this item, that counts, right? So I may have, I don't know, let's say 6 in stock but 1 committed. That will cause the reorder point to actually trigger, right? But I'm also going to take into account what's on order, and we'll talk about that in a second. So in this case, what I would do, for example, if I had 6 of these in stock, none committed, and I sold 2, that means that my quantity would drop to 4, and the system would recommend buying 6 more. So that's what your reorder and replenishment levels are. So let's go back to our buying assistant. And what I can do when I analyze the data, I can say, okay, show me all items that are at or below the reorder level, or show me all items that are at or below the reorder level, and also ones that are showing out of stock, right? Because I may want to look at that. You can also see all items that were sold in the last week or past month. And we can also say, look, show me all my items from a particular supplier, assuming I specified a default supplier on the item. And I can also say, show me all items for a specific manufacturer. In this case, I'm going to look at all items that we've sold in the last month, because that will give me an idea of what items are moving, and maybe I want to, it's beginning of the month, I want to look at last month's sales. Again, you can do it at any point during the month. And the buyer assistant is going to basically give me advice and help me decide what to purchase. So once you're ready, you can choose what locations. In this case, I'm just going to choose my default store. Most of you have one store. Some of you have many stores, so you can purchase based on choosing all your stores or one specific store. So we'll just choose one store. If I had multiple stores, it would show me each store lined up, so I can actually see them one directly under the other. And you'll notice it shows me all of the items that I sold last month. It has a picture of the item, has the item description, the UPC code, and then we have a lot of data here, and it may look a little overbearing when you first look at it, but I'll take you through the steps and show you what we have here. So in this case, I have 3 of this item. Looks like it's a holster. I've got 3 of them on hand, 0 on order, and 0 committed, right? If you notice, I don't have any reorder points set up. And it looks like I actually have a daily average of sales of 0.01. So what's my daily average? If you notice, I can hover over any field and it will tell you what the field is. So my daily average of sales is taking all of my sales for the past year and dividing it into the number of days to tell me how many I've sold. So basically, it looks like I've sold one of these every roughly 120 days, right? Because it's 0.01. Last time I received this item was 8/10. My days in stock is 48, so this item has been sitting here for a pretty long time. Again, we're working with some demo data. And if you'll notice, I have month-to-date sales, right? My month-to-date sales is 1, and I've sold a total of 2. So I've got 3 in stock. I probably don't need to order many of these. But the nice thing is I can, right on the screen, one of the most powerful features, and it probably won't be obvious to many, but you know what? It looks like I do sell this item, so I always want to make sure that I have 1 in stock. And my replenishment level, I'm going to set to 2. Actually, I'm going to set it to, let's do this a little differently. I'm going to set my replenishment level to 10 and my reorder level to 5. I only did this because I wanted to generate a recommendation on how many to order. It's for our demonstration purposes. Obviously, I probably shouldn't carry 10 of these in stock. But at the same time, maybe I'm deciding that this is going to be the hot item for this coming season. So I want to set my reorder level and my replenishment level. At this point, you'll notice that it is generating a recommendation to purchase, and it's 7. Why is it 7? Because I have 3 on hand, none on order, none committed, and my replenishment level is 10. So 10 minus 3 is 7. And at this point, I can choose who to purchase this item from. It will default to the supplier that has it in stock. But if you notice, looks like RSR has this item for a few cents less, right? And maybe I'm trying to establish a better relationship with RSR, so I can just change my supplier. Now again, it doesn't have to be a supplier that's showing up here. It can be any supplier. Maybe Davidson's, the rep called me, they're getting this in stock and I want to order it from them, right? So if you are in the firearms industry, you'll see that this information sometimes is filled out if there is a distributor that has this item in stock. As we expand to other industries and we have additional distributor catalogs or manufacturer direct feeds, this information will be filled in so that you know that this particular supplier has it in stock, but you can choose what supplier to purchase this item from. And as you go down the list, you can choose different suppliers, and we will generate a purchase order for each supplier. So you'll notice up here it's showing me my totals. I've got 7 items that I'm ordering, my average cost, and here's my grand total. So as I scroll down, I can just also click right here to order. In this case, I'll order 1. And this item, we'll just order from Sport South. Then I can go down here and you'll see this item is actually, my main source is Davidson's. And I'm going to order 5 of these. So I've got 3 different suppliers that I'm placing an order for. And at this point, I can choose to create a purchase order by location that would divide up the actual purchase orders so that each location generates a separate purchase order. If you don't have a central warehouse, you typically would do that. Or alternatively, 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 I can just not check this box, and even if I have multiple locations, everything will go into one purchase orders. So I can also create a transfer request. And that transfer request, again, if you have multiple locations and you've got a central warehouse, it can automatically generate this purchase order or multiple purchase orders based on the number of suppliers you're purchasing from. And then it will also generate a transfer request from each location based on the quantities that you're ordering for that location. So let me go ahead and hit generate. And that actually will create the purchase orders for you. Now, keep in mind, we actually are not going to transmit this purchase order, at least not at this point. We want you to have full control of your ordering. So there are systems out there that do auto ordering. We don't feel that's the greatest idea. We may introduce some element that provides the ability to auto order, but typically what you want to do is you want to control your ordering. You don't want items showing up at your door without knowing exactly what's coming. So you can just look at these orders, and at this point you can review them, you can email them. You'll see this is the order that just got created. And at this point, if you want, you can transmit this purchase order if you have that supplier set up for transmission. But if you don't, you can always email this particular order. You can add any information. All right, so you can suspend and complete this purchase order and then print it out, email it out, or transmit it. Now, the reason why I don't have the transmit button on this supplier, if I click this supplier and I edit it, you have to scroll all the way down here, and you have to choose your vendor ID, right? And your vendor ID is the list of, in this case, distributors. Again, this is mostly for the firearms industry, but as we grow into other industries, we'll have other distributors there. And once I hit save, and I choose that, this supplier is actually the distributor, Sport South, I can transmit that purchase order. So you'll see that the transmit button shows up. And that actually will transmit the purchase order directly to the supplier. If you've got a supplier that you want to work with and we don't have them set up in our list of distributors or a manufacturer, that has an API, we're very happy to review that and see if we can add them to our catalog. So the buying assistant I mentioned, it can create the purchase orders, but it's good for just analysis too. So, if you want to look at a particular manufacturer or a particular category, it's really helpful also for just setting up your reorder and replenishment points. So you don't have to generate a purchase order when you use this. You can actually use it to perform different tasks and also to analyze your sales and basically to help you manage your inventory more effectively, more efficiently. And our whole purpose for adding this is to help you with your highest cost to run your business, which is maintaining that inventory, and also making sure that not only are you maintaining, but you're watching the trends and you're able to see, hey, I've got certain items that are selling now. And I should mention that the other fields here are really useful too, because you can look at your last year-to-date sales versus this year-to-date sales, your last month-to-date versus this month-to-date, and your last week-to-date sales versus last year week-to-date sales. So again, all of this data, and I can hover over it, over the columns, and it tells you what it is there for a purpose. It's there to help you make better decisions. And obviously, if you can make better decisions with your purchasing of inventory, you'll end up having more sales, turning your inventory faster, and you won't have a lot of stagnant inventory that you've paid for that's sitting and gathering dust. So it's a really powerful tool. The days in inventory is a good hint. I mean, I've got this item here that's been sitting here. I've got 2 of them in stock sitting there for 115 days. Now, maybe this particular item, I just received it, right? But in this case, I didn't. It's been sitting there. Now, maybe there was a special on this item, and in this case, it looks like it may be a shotgun that is used more during hunting season, and hunting season hasn't started yet. So there's always reasons why you may have this inventory, but if you look at the overall cost of this inventory, it's pretty high, right? It's $2,500 sitting there for 115 days. Maybe it's time to do something about this item. Maybe I should put it on GunBroker. Maybe I need to put it on another auction site if it's not a firearm. Maybe I need to just email all of my customers and let them know there's a special on this item. So again, the screen is really powerful. Hopefully you can use it effectively, and if you have any other suggestions, definitely visit our feedback site at feedback.coreSTORE.info and let us know if there's certain features or functionality that you would like to see in the buying assistant screen. Thank you so much for watching this video.